I've done tons of videos on handhelds in the past, but one that I really liked was the Evercade. It's a little different than a lot of the stuff that I've been covering recently. It's a cartridge-based retro handheld that's new, and it plays games from many different consoles and even arcade games with some more recent cartridges they've released, all officially, by the way. So the Evercade, it was released back in May of 2020, and in late 2021, the console version of VS started to roll out. I've done reviews on both the handheld and the console and numerous cartridges, and I really liked with the console how it had a different, more polished user interface compared to the UI of the handheld. What you're seeing on screen here, if you're familiar anyway, it's not the VS console. The creators of the Evercade, they've just released a firmware update for the handheld that brings to it a very similar UI from the VS console, and with it, some new features as well. Now recently, Funstock, they released a limited run of 1,000 purple Evercade handhelds, so I figured since I have one, and it's just been sitting in the box sealed for a little while, we may as well unbox it and check out the previous firmware that's on it, and then go through the update process and check out some of the new features, which includes using the handheld as a controller for the VS console. There's now an option for that. Pretty cool stuff. So the Purple Edition Evercade came in a slim box with some stickers and a certificate of authenticity and a USB cable for charging, or could be used to wire it to the VS console to use as a controller. We'll get to that in a moment. So this Evercade, the purple one, it came stock with firmware 1.31, I believe it was. And, today we're going to be updating it to the new version, which is 2.0. The previous firmwares that were released, they were all fairly basic, providing a few options. I mean, you were able to get by and do what you needed to do, but yeah, they weren't crazy polished or anything, just bare minimum type of stuff here, but they still seem to look and function all right. Now with the new firmware, we'll have a lot more we can do. So getting the firmware installed is pretty simple. Just plug the USB cable that came with the handheld into a PC and have it plugged into the Evercade handheld, obviously. Download the new firmware on the official website. I'll put a link in the description. Open that up, that new little firmware updater. Follow the directions. It's just as simple as that. You will be asked to hold the menu button down and then power on the system while doing, the update so it can get its job done. It's very simple. In less than a minute, you should be ready to go. Now we got some new intro sequence, and look, we're on version 2.0. So you now have plenty of extra options, borders, themes, scan lines. It's all here. Well, except for global controller configurations. I'm not sure if that can be incorporated at some point, but it's really the only thing I'm not seeing here that I'd like, for this device to have had. I mean, the VS console has that. Kind of was hoping the handheld would get that as well, but maybe another time. So a lot of cool stuff we could do here now with the Evercade handheld, bezels, different themes, all that good stuff. But the one thing that they talked about before that is now incorporated is using the Evercade handheld as a controller for the VS. And that's simple to do. Just plug in the USB cable into the handheld, plug it into the controller port on the VS, and then select the controller mode in the settings on the handheld. The handheld does have to be powered on. Now it'll show a little screen like saying, hey, you can hold the menu button for 5 seconds to exit this mode. But if you just leave it alone, just use the controller, the screen will go dim. You don't have to worry about all that, and just use the handheld as a controller. I thought that was pretty cool. Works out decently well. So I'm really loving the look of the little purple Evercade handheld and the new user interface. I know this handheld and console may not be for everyone. Yes, I know there are tons of ways to play these games through various means, and I cover many of those options on my channel. But the one appeal that means something to a lot of people with the Evercade stuff is how it's all official. They're physical cartridges with cases and manuals. Yeah, it's emulation, but the way Evercade has gone about this has brought back like a little piece of nostalgia to plenty of people. I mean, if the prices were outrageous, I'd probably not be into this as much as I am. but I think they've been doing a pretty good job here, doing a lot of things right. And I hope they continue on producing more cartridges for those who are fans of this stuff and just really like what they're doing. I think it's cool. But let me know what you think down below. Just wanted to share this new firmware update in this real quick video. Really do appreciate every single one of you guys. With that said, I'll catch you on the next one. Bye.